Letchworth itself, when it was founded, was actually as an overflow to London. It was supposed to be coming out to have healthy living. You're supposed to come out and, move out of the slums of London, come and have a countryside house and that sort of thing. We're on a housing estate, about 1,700 houses, and on the surface they're brilliant to look at, and gardens are well kept, everything looks really quite pleasant. But when you start walking around and you know what's behind the closed doors, it's quite an interesting place to be. We're known as a community church, and the community looked to us like that. A few years ago we had fences stolen from our paddock, and there was an uproar in the community. How dare our church get vandalised? I keep my door open, what we call the listening ear, and it's amazing how many people just off the estate walk in and they just pour out their hearts. Never spoke to you before perhaps, and they'll just pour out their hearts and ask for advice, ask for prayer. If the door's open, people ring the doorbell and they'll say, "Can I come and have a word?" And say, "Come on in."
So we'd been running a toddler group for about 15 years, and a couple of years ago we decided we needed to revisit how we ran that, because it wasn't as successful as we'd liked it to have been. We set it back up as a tea, toast and tots morning, because what some of the mums said they really missed was they'd rush off to schools in the morning, take children to school, not get breakfast, not do anything. So we decided we'd try that. So 2 years ago we changed it to that. And we saw our group go from virtually nothing but the helpers to the Christmas party. We had 62 people in. They come in at 9, half 9, they stay till 11. They have breakfast together. We've got mums, we've got dads, we've got carers, we've got childminders, and a lot of those families, because we've known them over a period of time, they'll come in and they'll ask for advice, perhaps if they've got problems with their benefits, if they're having issues with their housing, if they've got issues with all sorts of things. They'll often come and ask us, "Will you pray about such and such?" They might not want to pray with you, but they will come and ask.
We have got a lot of young mums with children who are just starting to come in and be part of what we're doing.
We have about 16 or 20 children, perhaps to a 30 or 40 adult ratio, which is quite big in a church this small.
And they're not all church children.
No, they're not all church children.
Children are coming off the estate without their parents.
But I would say probably half those children have got additional needs in some class, some area or another. So that has its own challenges, but actually what we find is that the children are really very supportive of each other, which is lovely. And we've watched over the years those friendships develop between the children and families, and it has a knock-on effect. And I think as a church we're very accepting, and that's all inclusive, and that's really important to us as a church in the middle of a community, that actually people feel welcome. I think we have a lot of people that we have a lot of contact with over the week, and I think we also have to appreciate that a lot of people have got no Christian background in this day and age. They've not been to Sunday school, they've not had Christian families, and so they're coming from a very secular point of view, and I think it takes time sometimes to build those relationships with those individuals for them to actually trust you.
Yeah, we've got about 4 young mums with families who've actually come in through the Mums and Toddlers group, been saved, been baptised, going on with Christ, and they're now being part of the church. And so we've seen the actual development through the church from the little age right through.
So when you talk about how are you sharing the gospel, I think quite often it is in those very practical ways that you're just offering people Christ in that way for their situation.
And I think it's the scripture, it's the story from the Bible, isn't it, where it says, if your brother is hungry, and you just pat him on the back, say, there, go on your way and be happy. It says, no, feed them. It is really earning the right to share the gospel, and I think that's where we're at our strongest.
Like all of us that come to Christ, we've got a lot of people that have come from a lot of broken places, really broken, and they've come and they've found refuge, and they've found Christ, and they've found healing, and they've moved on with their lives. And it's lovely now, because we're in a position now, some years down the line, to see some of those families and some of those individuals bringing other people alongside and saying, God can do it for me, can do it for you. And that's a real thrill when you see that, because you then realise how far some of those people as individuals have actually grown.